Hi, my name is Efe, and today I'll be reviewing your manga scripts and then offering my feedback. If you would like to have your manga, illustrations, or scripts reviewed by us, then go to themangadie.com and fill out this short critiques form. By clicking yes on this option, you can even be featured in a video like this. Now, without further ado, let's review some manga.
So the first manga we're going to look at today here is by Little Bird. Found Little Bird on Pixiv actually. This is actually what their manga looks like here in the middle. But as you're going to see in this video, I actually converted the manga into scripts. So for people who submitted work who maybe didn't write a formal script but still want me to review their stories, review their scripts, I can convert it into a script for you. I just literally just read the manga multiple times and then converted it into text, as you're going to see. So if you want to check out their story, this is their Twitter, and there will be a link in the description for you to check out the manga directly if you would like to read it. Now, as you can see here, this is what the script looked like, the script that I wrote. Basically, to summarize the story, it's about a slave with no memories of his past. He must fight in an arena to earn his freedom. But as death approaches, he remembers his childhood. So I'm not going to read the entire script for you, but it is here on the screen if you want to pause and read it for yourself. But to summarize, we have a story here about a slave with no memories, but he has to fight if he wants to earn his freedom. You know, typical slave stuff. But he remembers something as he gets close to death. So what does this story need to improve on? The main thing that would be the most helpful to the person, I literally just forgot their name. Crazy. Who made this story, though, is the character details. So I highlighted the parts that showed the character details, and I'll read them to you now. So as you can see, there's a part where it shows the Ripper's bio on the screen. I wrote bio because it literally put like a dating profile amount of information on the screen, which is not necessary. It had his name, his birthday, the level, and peculiarity. Okay, and I think that's specific to their manga, the peculiarity and the level thing, but I'll keep going. The mom was revealed with her name, her age, her likes, dislikes, personality, and traits, all in one little text box. Like, this is not something that you figured out when you were reading it. It was something that was told to you in a little text box. Same with other characters. All of them had their character details revealed in a four-way split, in a rare four-way split, as you can see right here. And another person, at the end, there were characters that were revealed that did not have any details revealed about them, which is actually typically ideal. What do I mean by that? So as you can see on the left here, we have an actual screenshot from their manga, right? And as you can see, like if I even show you here, name, August Ripper, birthday, level, peculiarity, all of these details they revealed about the character. And as you can see, not only is that just a lot of details to begin with, but most of the time you can't even fit this on the screen without it being hyper zoomed in like I did. I zoomed it in all the way and I upscaled it just so that you guys could see the details. But when you're reading the manga itself, this is what it looks like. You cannot read this, okay? You cannot read that. That is too many details to give away about a character at once. Look at this example on the right here. We have Lloyd Forger. This is from the first chapter of Spy Family. The man was a spy, okay? But F.A., that doesn't really tell us anything about him, though. That's because, guys, manga is a show don't tell medium, okay? What does that mean? That means that us as the reader, we are supposed to know stuff about them because you showed it to us with your artwork, okay? If you have to tell us every single detail, right? We are not in a manga anymore. We are reading a light novel, okay? And that's fine if you're making a light novel, but if you are writing a script for a manga, you have to also keep in mind that you're going to use your art to depict things for the reader, okay? There is a big video that's going to be coming out very soon that's going to be talking about character introductions, that's going to cover this kind of stuff. So you have to subscribe if you want to be there first when it comes out, because it's actually going to help you guys so much. But this is some of the things that I talk about in that video, okay? It's that you have to nail it down if you want your characters to be memorable. And since characters are one of the most important elements in manga, you have to make sure you do it right. So once again, it's fine to share your character details on screen, but we don't need to know everything, right? You can tell us that the man was a spy, but we don't need to know that the man has a suit and tie. You know what I'm saying? Like, leave some things out for us to just find them out on our own. Telling us that he's a spy is one thing, because that's something that someone might not have picked up on, but name, age, birthday, level, peculiarity in full detail, unless that is important to the story, immediately important, you can leave it out. Okay? Alright, so the next piece we have is from Nugo. This is a manga that I found on Manga Plus Creators. It was a random one. It was literally like the newest manga uploaded at the time that I checked. So also, just to keep in mind, guys, if you think that I'm going to randomly stumble across your manga, that's not going to happen. Especially when the requests start coming in like heavily, because the content's going to be coming out consistently. There is going to be no way that I stumble across your manga. If you want your manga to be reviewed, you have to submit using the form. But I did stumble across theirs, so, you know, you never know. But this is Coco by them. They have no social media that I could find. I really looked to try and give them the promotion that they deserve for being in this video. But this is just their page right here. So if you want to read this manga for yourself, check the link in the description for Coco. Now, Coco is a story about a bear that is stuck in a cell being trafficked for his fur. Like, literally being trafficked for his fur, right? His literal fur, like his skin, right? Okay? A fellow inmate tells him a story that gives him the courage to escape. That is basically the summary. These are my handwritten summaries, as you can see over here. These are all the summaries that I wrote, that I came up with about the story. So I tried not to spoil it if you are planning on reading it. So you shouldn't probably read any of this if you are planning on reading it. But I wanted to show you also how it looks like when I break down scripts, so that you can be like, oh, maybe I can break down my scripts like that. And I also covered the notes so that you'll see why I covered them. But that's basically what our story is about here. We have a bear, story's named Coco. Bear stuck in a cell, he's being trafficked, and his inmate gives him the courage to escape. Okay, so what could this person use in their story? I think the most important thing that we need to talk about here is the purpose of a one-shot. Okay, this is a one-shot story. Coco is a one-shot story. It's labeled as a one-shot, so I'm going to treat it and talk about it as if it is a one-shot. One-shot and a first chapter of a manga are completely different. Okay, the purpose of a one-shot, if you didn't know, option A, set up a longer series down the line, or B, completely tell an entire story from start to finish in one shot. Those are the two options. Okay, this story, however, it leaves it open-ended, so it doesn't close the story, right, which is option B. And on option A, it doesn't set us up for anything in the future. These are missed opportunities for this story. What I highlighted was every instance where the main character's inmate shows up in the story. As you can see, the sheep. Ella is her name. She does this, 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 right? This is a major character, okay? A major character in the story. There's only really 3 main characters in this one shot, right? But Ella, the sheep, or I don't even know if it's a sheep, it might be a goat, but she is a major part of this story, okay? So why does the story end without her? That's my question, okay? F.A., sometimes people want to do open-ended endings. Facts. I understand that. I completely get that. Obviously, that's not typically what I do. That's not my preference, and you can do whatever you want. But I'm saying, for the sake of a one shot, you only have one shot. You literally only have one shot. If someone like me stumbles across your manga, you might have 2 shots, because I love reading and I'm just going to be like, well, let me just look at their other stuff, blah, blah. But for the most part, guys, we only give people one chance with their work. One chance. So if I come around to your one shot and it's like, okay, the story is not finished, unless the story was so good that it's like, all right, I have to see if whatever they make next or whatever, I have to follow them, I'm not coming back. And neither are you. So when you have one shot, you have to make sure that you either end it, so we're like, okay, they showed us what they wanted to show us, or B, they set it up with clickbait damn near so that we could come back in the future. This didn't do either of those. Now, this is actually a good story. Like, I thought the story was good. The manga itself was pretty good. I'm not here to hate. I'm never here to hate. I'm here to help, right? In the ending of the story, right? Spoiler alert. When the main character escaped, he basically escaped because he got saved by the army, essentially, right? Think about the army. Like, imagine the literal army saved him from being trafficked, right? Why did he not go back for his friend? He did not go back for his friend, the one who literally got him out. He didn't even mention her. The story just ends abruptly. Even 2-3 more pages would have wrapped this up cleanly, but it wasn't there. Okay? The purpose of a one-shot, I'm gonna say it again. Option A, set up a long-form series in the future. Or option B, tell an entire story in one chapter. This story did not do either, which is why I think in terms of what is the biggest improvement, if this was their only work, is to make sure that they pick one of the two options for a one-shot, okay? If you're going to make a chapter 1, that's one thing, but at least set us up for chapter 2, okay? Here's an example. As you can see here, this is Romance Dawn. FA, I thought that was One Piece. Did you know that before there was a One Piece, there was a Romance Dawn? This is actually the case for most serialized manga in Japan, is that they start off with one-shots, and if the one-shot is successful, then, and a lot of people read it, and they're like, oh, I want to see what happens next, whatever. It gets a lot of reviews. Then it gets turned into a series. One Piece started off as Romance Dawn with Luffy and Nami, right? And here's the thing. The ending of Romance Dawn, look at the ending. It says, the name Straw Hat Luffy will become famous in these oceans someday. Soon. Soon. This lets us know that the adventure that we saw in this chapter is not over. So you as the reader are like, oh man, the adventure's not over. I want to see what happens in their adventure. That piques your interest. This is how clickbait works, actually. People clickbait you into what's next. They, what's it called? Cliffhanger as well. This is the same thing. They give you just enough to set you up for the next episode. I'm watching Beast Games right now, right? I don't know if you guys know Mr. Beast. You probably do if you watch YouTube. But I'm watching his Beast Games right now, right? This brother leaves cliffhangers like 4 or 5 times per episode before he gives an ad, okay? That's good writing. That's just good writing, okay? Because it makes you have to continue watching. You see this very clearly when you watch TV shows, but if you don't watch TV shows, you don't see how often cliffhangers can be used to set up opportunities for people to gain more investment, okay? So I don't want to turn this into a full rant on just like cliffhangers and one-shots and things like that, but I just wanted to tell you how important it is to set up for the future if you are going to make a one-shot, because that is what they said they were making, that this is a one-shot. They do not have plans of making another story about it, so either end it all in that one-shot, the story I mean, or set it up for the future, okay? And that one didn't do either, but if you read something like Romance Dawn, or even most popularized, not even popularized, serialized manga, if you read their chapter 0, it's literally called chapter 0, right? If you read their pilot chapters, you will see that they set it up for the future. So that is the reference I would use if you want to know more about this. All right, and last but not least, we have Reignited Passion by Maru. Again, couldn't find any social media from them. If you are watching this video, Maru, or who's the last guy who made Coco, or even you watching the video right now who does not put their social media inside their manga or in their bio or anything, right? You're really doing yourself a disservice, especially when we are in a day and age in which people knowing about you is literally like the difference between you eating or not, right? You have to figure out how you can even just put a watermark, bruh. People be putting watermarks on their illustrations just like these. Look, this is not actually his account, but like all you have to do is something like this. At Maru 123. Just put it on there somewhere so we know where to find you, bruh. Because even if this is a contest entry for Silent Manga Audition, right? Even if you don't win the audition, right? A publisher could run into your work and not know how to contact you. There are publishers literally just looking at manga all day, right? And they're just like, how am I going to reach out to this dude? I can't find his email. I can't find nothing. This is exactly why you have to have a presence, okay? I'm going to talk about this more in the future, but just wanted to let you guys know that, especially you, Maru. I hope you're watching this video so you know next time, because this could have been free promo for you. But also, the link's in the description if you want to just read their manga directly. But again, nowhere to follow you. Sorry. So in the story, there is a man struggling with his art, and he has his passion reignited after seeing a child enjoying their art, okay? Pretty typical stuff, especially if you're an artist. You probably have experienced something like this, like losing the passion and then finding it. It could be even if you're not an artist, I guess just if you have a hobby that you lost interest in, but you got it again. Pretty relatable stuff. So pretty good premise, pretty relatable. So I like this story. This is actually one of the ones that I had the least amount of things to say, but there's still always something you can improve upon on, so that's what I'm here to show. Now, the main thing for you, Maru, or someone who has something similar here to Maru's script, right, is how to declutter your script, okay? As you can see, I wrote here in my notes, unnecessary details removed. Basically spotless script, though. Because the script was basically spotless. Pretty much a good story from start to finish. No major critiques I'd give for it. But you can take stuff away. That is decluttering, right? What do I mean by that? This story is about a painter, right? And the painter, he gets mad when he's painting. He's having an art block right now, right? But he goes out, he goes for a run. He gets his passion reignited when he sees a little kid drawing, and he's like, oh, wow, that reminds me of me. And then he finishes his drawing now. That basically sums it up. What I told you was twice as short as the actual script itself, okay? Because there are details in this script that don't actually add to the story. The main character returns to his workplace, which is revealed to be a studio. Did we need to know that? Not really. Because I didn't even tell it to you in the first time I told you the summary, and you still probably could have assumed that, right? Number 2, it is revealed here that he is a teacher because he has a note on his desk and he's been taking medication. Does that add to the story? It definitely adds, right? But this is the golden rule of decluttering, okay? If there's nothing else you take away from this critique right here, this is how you know when it's time to declutter. If you can remove one thing and nothing changes, that means it does not have to be there. Okay? Now, this doesn't even have to just be about manga now. This is not even just about manga scripts, whatnot. In general, if you can, it's think about like Jenga, right? If you can remove a block of Jenga and the tower does not fall, it doesn't even move, that means the block doesn't have to be there. So you can use that energy that you would have put on the extra block, on the extra script parts, on the extra pages, on the extra drawings. You can use that for something else. You get me? So with this, it's like the main premise of the story is that we got a guy who lost his passion, finds it again. That is it. Does it actually matter that he works in a studio? No, it does not. Does it actually matter that he's a teacher? No, it does not. Does it actually matter that he's been taking meds? No, it does not. Because it doesn't add to the story. Because you can remove all 4 of those elements I just listed, and the story still is exactly the same. Here's a clear-cut example. I wrote this really quickly, but a little 7-line story here. We got, a man needs new shoes. He goes to the store to buy coffee. He looks online for shoes he likes. He finds a store that sells those shoes. He tells his wife that he's leaving. He goes to the store. He buys new shoes. Now my question to you watching, which of these can you remove that does not change the story? I'll give you a second. Number 2, you can remove number 2. Do we need to know that he goes to the store to buy coffee? No. A man needs new shoes. He looks online for shoes he likes. There's no point of number 2. That's literally filler. That's actually what filler means. You just put stuff in to fill. You don't have time to do that if you're making a one-shot, especially if you're not even getting paid. If you're not getting paid, then you shouldn't even be wasting your time putting stuff in that doesn't have to be there. Side note, but I had to tell you guys. A man needs new shoes. He looks online for shoes he likes. He finds a store. He tells his wife. He goes to the store. He buys new shoes. Anything else you see that could be removed that still makes sense? Huh? Does he have to tell his wife that he's leaving? Probably not. Obviously, it's great, to talk to your wife, you feel me? But in terms of the story, we already know what the problem is, what the goal is. New shoes. How quickly can we get new shoes? He looks online for shoes that he likes. This is decent, right? You can keep it here because it does add, it does give you an element that makes the story longer if you need, one more page for sure. But it actually doesn't have to be there. He finds a store that sells shoes. It still makes sense. It literally still makes sense, but it doesn't even have to be there. What about he goes to the store, he buys new shoes? This can stay. Oh my gosh, we just decluttered. We took like 4 away. Oh my gosh, we just saved all that time. We can do something else now. We can make the story even better because we can just add stuff afterwards. But this doesn't have to be there either. A man needs new shoes, he buys new shoes. If that was your whole story, you could then move on to number 8. Oh my gosh, what would he do next? He buys new shoes. What? He shows his new shoes. He shows his shoes to his wife. You feel me? Like, you can save so much time and progress your story even further if you just go from point A to B as fast as possible. Okay? And this is very important specifically for manga artists who are making one shots, chapter ones, because like I said on I think it was the second one, is that you only have one shot for people's attention. Most of the time, people don't know you, they don't care about you, they don't care about your work, so why would you waste their time? You should be showing them as fast as possible what you're capable of if you want them to stay, okay? That's a world that we live in. I know that you wish it was it was not like that. I wish it wasn't like that sometimes, but that's just the truth. Everyone's fighting for your attention right now. We got TikTok now. We got like all these things that just want your attention, and people are not gonna suddenly just give you the time of day just because, I'm just feeling nice today. I'm just gonna read a 50-page one shot that is 30 pages of filler. No, I'm not gonna do that, bro. I'm not gonna do that. Unless you need me to review it, obviously. But I'm just telling you guys that because that's just the brutal truth about the manga industry, about attention and how it works, especially with one shots. So keep this in mind. Please declutter your story. Please. Now, as I mentioned before, if you would like your manga to be reviewed by me or someone else on our team, then go to themangadiet.com and make an account for free. All you need to do is hit login or register or submit my work. And on this page here, you hit request critique and fill out this short form. That is all you have to do. Now, if you want to improve on your own solo, then you can go to the shop. We have some tools here. We got some new tools. We're actually going to be talking about these in a new video, probably the next video. But check these out if you are interested. Just click on them and you can see the details. Very easy. Very simple. That is it for this video today, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you like this video, subscribe, share it with your friends. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.